The opposition saying that this bill is envisaged to circumvent a Supreme Court order. It was a constitutional bench of the Supreme Court that decided that the authority for appointments and services rests with the Delhi government. You are basically circumventing that authority and giving it to a committee which has two bureaucrats and one, the elected Chief Minister of Delhi.
Nothing could be further from the truth, because if you read the 11th May judgment of the Supreme Court, and I am quoting to you in summation para 78 to para 95, it clearly says that the scheme envisaged under 239 AA3B, which basically empowers Parliament to make any law for Delhi, because Delhi is not a regular state, it's a union territory. It allows the Parliament to make laws on stateless subjects apart from 1, 2 and 18, which is land, law and order and police. And if the union government or the Parliament makes a law, then the executive power of the LG extends to that extent. This has been categorically said by the Supreme Court judgment of 11th of May. Therefore, when Jasmine's party went and sought a stay as government of Delhi on this particular ordinance, on two occasions, the Delhi government was refused a stay categorically by the Supreme Court, even though they transferred one of the issues into the higher bench of the constitutional bench of the court. Now, let's come to the fact. What is the fact? The fact is that in every state, there is an authority that decides upon transfer and postings and important crucial postings. Why is the Aam Aadmi party so adamant that they want to control transfer and postings? Is it because they want to do a scam, or is it because, as Mr. Rajshekhar or Mr. More said, that they wanted to take out the excise duty files or the files of the Sheesh Mahal?
But they are the elected government of Delhi. I mean, you tell me which other state does not have the authority to appoint
Delhi is not a full
bureaucrats.
state. Delhi is
It's not a full state. I didn't say it is a full state, but
so
they are the elected government.
So let me make it very clear. I can imagine if Onika was to say that this was done for Himachal and she had a problem. Himachal is a full state. Madhya Pradesh is a full state. Delhi is not a full state. 239 3A, AA3B, and apart from that, the para 78 to para 95. I can read out just one line. I'll just read out one line. If Parliament enacts a law, this is Supreme Court, granting executive power on any subject within the domain of NCTD, the executive power of the Lieutenant Governor shall be modified to that extent as provided in the law. This is the law. And forget just one last.
Okay, this is the judgment. You made that point. Let me ask Jasmine. Jasmine, I think Shehzad has a valid point. The bill that has been envisaged and the bill that's been brought forth and tabled in the Lok Sabha today, it's in line with 239 AA of the Constitution. It gives special status to Delhi as a union territory, and it allows Parliament to make laws on all issues other than the three that was mentioned, law and order, land and policing. Now, why shouldn't such a bill be brought forth by Parliament? If the will of Parliament is not there, if majority is not there for this bill should be defeated on the floor of the Parliament. But if the will of Parliament is there, if the majority's support is there, including among parties, neutral parties, third parties like BJD and YSRCP, why shouldn't this bill be brought forth and debated and passed?
Zaka, I'll come to your very precise question in just a second. I first like to categorically state that this is the most undemocratic and unconstitutional breach of power, almost a power grab attempted by the Modi government in the last 9 years. And it's the simple reason is that for the last 25 years, BJP has been trying to win the government of Delhi, be in power in Delhi. The people of Delhi have pushed them out. Earlier, Congress was in power, and now Aam Aadmi party is in power, and they have realized it that for the next 50 years, they cannot win a democratic election in Delhi, and that is the reason this bill has been brought. Your question is the Parliament has an authority to pass a law. Absolutely, the Parliament has an authority to pass a law as far as Delhi is concerned, as far as any other state is concerned, as far as subjects of the concurrent list is concerned. But no law can violate either the Constitution of India, or second, the basic structure of the Constitution. This has been held umpteen number of times by the Supreme Court. The reason why this violates the Constitution is because, Zaka, it's very clear. The Supreme Court judgment of May 2023 categorically stated that is incomprehensible. How can an elected government run if it does not control the services? And the Article 239 AA already states that except for these three subjects, everything else comes in the domain of the elected government. So unless and until you amend the Constitution, you can't pass a normal law and amend the Constitution. You have to pass a constitutional amendment, and this is what BJP is not doing because they know that they don't have power.
one second.
pass the constitutional
No,
amendment.
no,
But the
one
second
second,
part,
one
the
second.
second,
The Supreme Court judgment.
I'll just conclude. The second
just give me 10
argument
seconds.
is on the federal
No,
structure.
I'm not sure. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm not sure that it needs to be a constitutional amendment because, as I understand, and I'm reading from the Supreme Court judgment, this the power to bring a bill, of course, rests with Parliament, and this bill, the bill that the government has brought forth, does not violate the Supreme Court's judgment because the Supreme Court has simply held that the Delhi government has legislative and executive powers over services, yes, but the judgment also explicitly does not bar Parliament from making laws on that same subject. Now, you have said that Parliament has the powers.
No, you can make the law. You can.
So then, where is the need for a constitutional amendment if the Parliament has powers to make a law? What's being brought forth is a law.
No, then anything on. No, then when is a constitutional amendment required? You know, when we say that the government of Delhi has all powers as a regular state, except for the 3 subjects which are very categorically put out in the constitution, then you cannot make sure that another 4th subject, which is the services or the control over bureaucracy, can be made under the hand of the central government, which is what, by the way, this authority does. Making 2 bureaucrats the bosses over the chief minister is essentially amending the constitution. The number 2 thing, and the very important thing, is no law, not even an amendment of the constitution, can violate the federal structure.
Okay.
Today, the reason why this is the most dangerous piece of legislation, Zaka, is because it's not just the control over bureaucracy. Or the Delhi Transport Corporation, Jal Board, all these corporations and boards have now been put under the Lieutenant Governor.
Okay, got it.
I'll ask one question to the BJP. Tell me, what will the elected Chief Minister do?
One second.
Tell me one thing after this bill.
Shehzad Poonawalla,
The elected Chief Minister has no powers left.
what is the justification
for
this 3-member committee? I believe.
One
second. I believe it's called the National Capital Civil Service Authority. This was formed after the Supreme Court judgment of May. It has 3 members.
Yes.
One is the Chief Minister. The other 2 are Chief Secretary and Principal Home Secretary. These are bureaucrats appointed by the central government, and the Delhi government does not have a say in this. Are bureaucrats going to lord over an elected government? Are bureaucrats because if it's a committee, then it's going to be a 2:1 majority, and the bureaucrats will have powers over the Chief Minister. If there are differences between the Chief Minister and the other members of the committee, clearly unelected bureaucrats are going to have powers over the Chief Minister.
First of all, Zaka, we cannot play fast and loose with the facts on this show. The fact of the matter is that Mr. Jasmine has completely misquoted what 239AA3B says, and he has completely misquoted the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, if he has said that categorically allows only Delhi to make laws and to make a structure on services, he should quote me the paragraph. I have quoted para 78 to 95, which explicitly says that Parliament, if it makes a law on these subjects apart from 1 to 18 of state list, then those laws prevail. Let's not interrupt each other. Let's not interrupt each other. Let's not interrupt each other. I am speaking only.
No, but Shehzad, you're not answering my question.
I am coming to your question.
One second, you're not answering my question.
Why are we in such a hurry? Let me answer it in detail.
Because I have limited time on the
I
debate.
understand that.
In a 3-member committee,
yes,
the
I'm
Chief
coming to
Minister
that,
is
Zaka,
one,
but please
the other 2 are bureaucrats.
Zaka, I completely understand your question. Let me come to that because the answer to this lies in what I'm saying.
Yes.
The answer to this is that the centre or the Parliament has a complete authority as per the Supreme Court judgment and the Constitution to make laws on any subject of the state list.
Not the centre, the Parliament.
That's right. Parliament, in this case, has the right to make laws on any subject under the state list, not just 1 to 18.
That is
right?
not my question.
Yeah. Now, one second. I'm coming to
again
it.
repeating my question.
I understand. I've come back to it.
A 3-member committee has 2 bureaucrats and 1 Chief Minister, which means the bureaucrats can overrule the Chief Minister by majority.
I'm coming to your question. Now that we have put this fact, and it's an incontrovertible fact, now let me tell you that the centre or the Parliament could have very well envisaged a system where the LG takes a decision. In fact, this is the biggest spirit of cooperative federalism, where the Parliament has come up with a legislative scheme where the Chief Minister is heading the committee. The Chief Minister technically does not need to be put in this committee.
No, one second. If there is a dispute, if there is a dispute in this committee, how is it resolved? One second, Jasmine. Shehzad, if there is a dispute in this committee over the appointment of any particular bureaucrat, whose view will prevail?
Of course, the view of the majority of the committee will prevail.
So there are 2 bureaucrats in the committee.
Why do you think that
one elected Chief Minister whose view do you think will prevail?
Zaka, 1 second. I think that to say that the bureaucrats will take a certain decision only because they happen to be appointed by a particular system is to question the integrity of the bureaucrats.
No, I'm not questioning the integrity. I'm just questioning logic.
Anyway. 1 second.